Hello, and welcome to the RealRam fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission, or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. 3 of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode.
So what's up, Ram fam? So today we got the beginning of May, and today I got a special for you. I got a co-host with me and my guest. So you normally see co-hosting with me. You normally see her doing her thing with me. And so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm going to start this off with a few statistics that I just pulled from the National Institute of Mental Health. Says in 2021, there were an estimated 57.8 million adults aged 18 or older in the U.S. Hold on, in the U.S. with AMI, with any mental illness. This number represented 22.8 of all U.S. adults. The prevalence of any mental illness was higher among females at 27.2%, and than males, which was at 18.1%. Young adults ages 18 to 25 had the highest prevalence at 33.7% compared to adults aged 26 to 49 at 28.1%, and age 50 and older at 15%. And so, in that spirit of discussing mental health awareness, my guest, Meschell Nash, is going to share her story with us. And then my co-host for today is Phillip Sain. You have seen him before, and he is a fellow social worker and therapist. Welcome in, Mimi and Phillip.
Thank you.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
Yes, thank you all for joining. So, what we're going to do to start this off is, since Mimi has never been a guest before, she's going to get started off as a warm up. And what people may remember is that, me and Mimi, we met each other a long time ago from the same area. And if y'all recall what this warm up is about, but we'll see, because Mimi done moved around. So Mimi, I'm gonna let you share where you're from and where we met, and then where you moved to before we get into this warm up.
Okay. So I'm originally from Manhattan, Kansas, and I currently live in Marietta, Georgia.
So we'll see if being in Georgia
Has
changed
changed.
the way. You see if it changed her culture a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
see how this thing works out for you. All right. So Mimi, where is my play button?
Oh,
Okay.
God.
All right. Say that.
Water. 2. Hair. Here. Really? Shoes, sneakers, what you want to call them. I would say shopping cart, but we usually say basket.
Well, who was we? In Georgia or in Kansas?
I think this is Georgia.
Right.
Because that is the basket, too. Because when people be like, where the baskets? Which one?
Yeah.
Wallets. Purse. An alley. What is that doorway called? An arch or an entry?
Oh, okay. You said three things. Okay. Okay.
That may have been Kansas for you.
Okay.
That's an ice cup or a fruit cup.
Okay.
Oh, that's the icy. Now that's the icy. What? That's a buttload of stuff.
Okay. Okay. So I know I ain't the only one. I know I ain't the only.
You said you ain't the only one to say that one.
Everybody keeps saying a boatload. Okay.
Them is wife beater shirts.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for
How I
participation.
do?
Hey, you have to find out what my answers are, in another day on another show.
Oh God, I'm originally from Atlanta now. It got corrupted.
Okay, maybe. All right. So, Bill, if you would like to introduce yourself to the people.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Phil Sain. I'm also a mental health therapist at Forest Therapeutics, but I also serve as a school mental health therapist for high school here in Maryland.
Okay. And so, Bill is going to do majority of the talking with Mimi, and I'm here for support for both of them. So Mimi is going to share her mental health journey with us, and yes, like I said, so Bill is going to take it away with Mimi. So Mimi, you can begin wherever you
Okay, so nice to meet you, Mimi. If you could please just give us a brief journey down like life in adulthood, please.
So I had a child at a young age, 16 years old. I had my first child. Then I had another child while I was around 20 something years old, and now I have a child at 43. So
Okay.
I have a lot of ups and downs.
And those are all blessings. I
Oh yeah.
know a lot of women thinking it's impossible to have a child in their 40s or older. But that's a God-given blessing right there.
That is very true.
So, 16. What was that like for you, becoming a mother for the first time at that moment?
It was scary. Because I didn't know how I was going to take care of a child, first of all. And I knew that I went into it because of I felt unloved. I just needed love somewhere. And so I was searching for something. And I think that's what led me to having a child early.
Was this was someone older than you at the time?
Yeah, he was like 3. He was way older than me. 3,
Okay.
4 years older than me, and like I said, I was lacking some love somewhere, and I didn't realize that it was my mental health, that led me down that way.
And when you say lacking love, what was it like? Your relationship like, or the dynamic of the relationship with your parents?
It was strained because my mom was always working, my dad was working as well, so they were always out the house, and my dad used to be an alcoholic, so that also put strain and he was a retired veteran. So, coming home from war and stuff like that did a lot of damage to him. So, and then my mom had to put up with a lot of stuff from him. So it wasn't easy. So.
Right. I can only imagine. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I've experienced that myself in my time. So did you see like a lot of verbal or physical abuse? And then it sounds like you had some neglect from your parents because they were providers, but they weren't able to give you quality time as you may have hoped for.
Correct. And I don't know if they knew how to give quality time, if you understand what I'm saying. Because like a lot of people don't realize that it's a lot of work to put in for kids, that I'm finding out myself, and having them to become mentally stable and be a sound mind child. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, and a parent needs to be there. A mom needs to be there, or somebody has to be there. One of the parents, but with them both working outside the home, you are either raised by the TV, or you're raised by your siblings, or you're raised by people outside in the streets. So.
And are you the only child?
No, I actually had four. I'm a total of four siblings. I'm the baby. So
Okay.
I've had an older brother, two older brothers, and an older sister. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And close relationship?
Kind of, not anymore. Not. I mean, me and my sister do now. But my oldest brother passed away. He was actually killed in jail. But my other brother, like we're okay. It's not. He's busy working. Has his own life. And me and my sister, we just really have become really close. And I feel like I can really turn to her a lot. So.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing a pattern a little bit, seeing a pattern. So, in terms of like love and support from men in your life, what was that like moving forward from 16 and up? Because I know you mentioned you had two other kids later.
Right, and everybody has different fathers. So I think it was the fact that I really didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to date. I didn't know what tough questions to ask these men and what not to do. I mean, I was told not to have sex, and that's all I was told. Like, don't have sex, blah, blah, blah. They tell you the basic rules, but like, then you're like, why? You get curious, and then, stuff happens, and you just are not taught how to date. And sometimes, like, I think girls need their dads to actually take them on dates and, actually replicate what the man is supposed to do. And I think that I didn't get that chance because my dad was from the military, retired from the veterans. He was going through a lot. He's barely making any money. It's a lot of stress on him, So he probably shut down, and we didn't get that
Because
one-on-one.
it's not like he had his own illness going on.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
are they still present with us today, or your father and your mother?
My dad passed away, but my mom is still present, and
Okay.
like now, like I feel like she helps me now. She's there for me now, and kind of talks to me and gets me through stuff. It's just like, but when I was growing up, it was a lot harder.
Yeah, I think that's one thing as we get older, to find ways to give our parents grace. Like you were saying earlier, like he had his own things going on,
Right.
and you have to be understanding at the time. I know at times when we're younger, it doesn't seem as easy to forgive or understand,
Mm-hmm.
but as we get older, I think that's when we're
Yeah.
definitely training and graceful or gracious rather. Is that something that you've experienced over time? Giving your father or your mother grace.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely give them grace because they loved us. That's not the question. It was just that they didn't have time. The world we live in, you have to work, you have to make money, you have to provide for your kids, and so like they're working so hard to provide for us that, you know, I never would hold that against them. You know, I never hold that, making them upset. Like, hey, you know, they, they couldn't, they couldn't be there all the time for us.
Right.
And like I said, they do everything that they can for us. And I'm not saying that like they're like bad parents, but it's just that somewhere I was searching for something and it wasn't them. It wasn't like their fault. It's like they were busy, unfortunately. So
We gotta go elsewhere.
yeah, and it's not their fault. It was me, you know.
You said me. Explain that. Tell me a little more about that.
So like what I'm saying is me is like I didn't speak up to say, you know, to turn to family or, you know, I could have turned that way instead of turning into a men or, you know, trying to look for a child or something to love me, you know. I could have had a communication with my parents. So I
Understand.
mean, like I said, like there's a lot that I've learned within myself.
If you don't mind sharing that with us, like what else you've learned about yourself over
Sure.
the years.
So like for myself, I think that I don't ask tough questions to people.
Okay.
I'm a very people pleaser, or I hold things in. And when I hold things in, I may burst out eventually to someone. It may be at the wrong time. It may not look very nice. And, you know, like like I don't know if I want to tell you, like I got in a fight in high school. You know, it just because I would hold a lot of stuff in,
Right.
and that is my issue. Like I need to learn how to express myself, and you know, and be a better person, and learn to know that I can speak up for myself. I can, you know, be respectful for other people, and give them their point of view as well, and understand that they may not see my point of view as I see it, and I can respect that, but you know, but still stand on my boundaries.
Definitely. At what point did you come to that realization that because something you had mentioned is like in let's say in relationships with people and a people pleaser, where do you think that stemmed from?
Um, I really haven't got too depth into that, like where that came from.
Okay.
Um, but I think that just growing up and you know a siblings, four siblings, and you being the baby, like I think that I got a lot of stuff because I was the baby,
Right.
or because you know me and my siblings would fight or whatever, and sometimes I would just be like cower down and just let it happen or something, or just let things go. So I think that's maybe where I got it from, is that you know, I would give and take. It was like a give and take type of thing. It's like, okay, somebody's giving it to me, give it to me, give it to me. But then like I'm like, ooh, how do I keep getting it? Or so I would make, you know, make other people happy to be able to get what I needed or whatever. I think that's where it came from.
And then to make that change, because I mean, of course, everybody will know like a whole soda bottle thing. Keep holding everything in, and once you pick it up, the right one might catch you, you know, at the right time, and this is a big explosion. Um, Tell me at what event or at what time in life did that really hit you? Like,
I think it more hit me when I started having kids, because I didn't realize that about postpartum depression. Nobody talks about that. So like the postpartum depression. No. And now that I know, now that I'm like 44, or you know, or, yeah, I'm about to be 45. So that I'm 44 now, like I just now am learning all this. Like I'm learning why I burst up, or why I'm a people pleaser, or why I hold things in. Like I'm just now learning this, and so like, um, the only reason I found that out is because I had a miscarriage and I became a whole different person that I'd never seen before. And like the way I acted, the way I handled things, I was actually like surprised.
How'd you handle it? That surprised you?
Very awful, very bad. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's all my fault. Like I know that there's stuff that's triggering to me. So when it's triggered, I just react without thinking. I didn't think about it. It was just me just saying what I was gonna say, and whoever got hurt, and maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. You know,
Right.
it was a little bit out of there, and I couldn't even believe that was me. You know, I was really shocked because. Well, let me just say, like, it was even like with my ex-husband, like with his family and stuff like that. Like, I was very mean to them. I would say ugly things about him. I mean, and some may be okay to true, but some were just not in my character because that's not who I am. Because I'm not that type of person. Normally, if somebody hurts me, I usually just walk away and leave it alone and never come back to that person, you know.
Understood. And that reaction was after the miscarriage, or? Yeah,
it was after the miscarriage. A miscarriage that I had. It was in 2020.
So it sounds like I mean, that's a normal reaction for some people in terms of grief, right? And I think what I'm hearing too, not knowing the time frames, but just a lot of experiencing loss over the years.
Yeah.
And some of them may be traumatic in the sense of either witnessing it or experiencing it through just that's a loved one who left us so tragically, if you will.
Right.
So I mean, that's understandable, you know. So don't be too hard on yourself because.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just make it like I'm aware of it now, and I figured it out. Like, you know, that I need to, before I say anything or I react, I need to think before I react, you know, and not or don't be reactive. How about that?
Right. And you make a good point. You know, self-awareness is beautiful, and I think a lot more of us can deal with that, can do that better.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm trying to learn self-control as well. Because like from my mental like capability, I know I can do it. It's just that being so much stressed in my life ever since I was 6, I've been like on fight like survival mode from when I was 16 until like all the way up until I'm like 40 something. So like my whole life has been in an uproar of stress and depression and anxiety. And so like now I'm finally just being able to breathe. And that's how I feel now. It's like I'm finally figuring out who I am. I'm breathing and taking it in, like, and not to blame anyone. You know, it's no one's fault. It just happens, and that's the key. Like, I don't blame anyone. I take on full responsibility of what I did in my life and what I chose for myself. And like, you know, with like I said, my parents were loving. They helped me through all my kids. You know, they supported me when I did decide to have these kids. And even though, you know, I was searching for love, you know, and I know they knew that they probably understood what I was doing, but it was just too late, you know. And like I said, but they were supportive.
And that's a good thing to mention, to acknowledge that they were supportive. I think also one thing you did was take accountability, right?
Right.
And I'm huge. I'm big on that, in the sense of being aware that you've dealt with all this stressors and stuff, the anxiety, the depression, trauma, and even like some of your physiological reactions to things, whether it's like in fight mode or freeze, or you're trembling, muscle tension, like all these things you experience can put a toll on you.
Right.
So what do you do to manage or regulate your emotions, I should say, to cope with what you've experienced?
Wow. To cope with my experience, I actually sit in silence a lot, and I really get into my word. I'm really, about God, and that is the most important thing to me, is to believe in Him and to put Him first in my life now, and to recognize that I need to follow His rules, not my own. And really concentrate on me and give myself grace, and know that I made a mistake and it's okay.
Right.
And I can get through it. And I do a lot of positive talk to myself.
Yes. Amen to that. I love how you put in faith first, actually even prioritizing yourself. A lot of times I realize, even my own self in the past, we start to put the relationship in others before ourselves, and,
Right.
and that's incorrect. So, or unhealthy, I should say. So I applaud you for that. And even speaking positivity, positive affirmations or anything, and not so much negative self-talk.
Right.
So that's big right there. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a lot of work.
It is.
Took me a while to get here.
But you're here though. That's
amen. I am, and I'm happy about it. I actually see a different me.
You free yourself from the hurt and the pain and your past, and your past doesn't define who you are.
Definitely.
I think plus, if I'm hearing correctly about the kids, are pretty young, so they're still in a way of seeing mommy in this positive light.
Well, I did have a six. I had my child when I was 16,
Right.
so I have a 28-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Okay.
And so, like, they were in my survival mode. They were going through it with me. They were in the trenches with me. So, like, they are still working on themselves, but I'm also assisting with it because, like, when they address something with me that I probably have done to them, I allow them to know, like, hey, give me grace. Like, I did not know that I did that to you or made you feel this way. I try to take accountability for them to let them know that their feelings are valid.
That's beautiful. I applaud you again for that. And I say that because for someone who experienced that, like with daddy issues in a sense, growing up until now, my adulthood, I think sometimes as kids, we see the hurt that our parents experience, but sometimes we just need them to acknowledge. If we need to acknowledge that to them, you don't have to apologize or anything, but even asking for grace, I think is a beautiful thing. And we miss out on that a lot, especially in our community.
Yes. I think that's where it needs to start to fix our community as well. Like, I think that we need to fix it within our families and know that everybody's not always going to be happy with each other, and know that everybody makes mistakes, and that it's okay to forgive, and know that, I don't like always saying, like, agree to disagree. That is not my thing to say, because you definitely have to address the situation.
Right.
So that way, where everybody stands. How about that?
I like that. And correct me if I'm wrong. So when you were referring to the agree disagree piece, is it that sometimes when we say that there's no resolution, it's just okay.
Exactly. There's no resolution. So, like, how do you fix it? Or if it happens again, it's going to be a problem, or somebody's going to always hold on to it. And if you're going to hold on to that grudge, like, you're never going to get past it. You're never going to heal from it. You're never going to allow that person to even try and fix it or even change, or they may have changed and you don't even know that they changed.
Right. Definitely. And tell me, what would you like to share with those who may be experiencing what you've experienced or currently experiencing in the place where you are about your awakening?
It takes time, and it's best to learn that by yourself.
Okay.
Like dating and being married, I didn't get that time because I was so worried about somebody else. I was always trying to do and please other people, and I wasn't working on myself to fix my issues and my mental health. And it's very important to learn how to manage that when you do get into a relationship, to actually juggle a relationship plus you're still maintaining your health. um, I think it takes time, and I think that we as women feel like we don't have time. I think that I want to say, because like when we're younger, we're always trying to get married. We're always trying to, we're trying to get fast forward a lot of stuff, in which like it's okay. I had a baby at 43. Like it's okay to wait. It's okay to establish your health
Right.
and then bring in a healthy child or a healthy marriage, because when you rush things, you make mistakes.
Definitely. And I think it's important that we normalize being by ourselves so we can understand who we are. So therefore, when we get into these relationships, uh, we can still go. We're going in knowing who we are, so we're not going to be changed by someone else's actions or what have you.
Very true.
I love that.
Yep. So I mean, I think
Yes,
that's my message: is just take your time, get to know yourself, love yourself first, and build from there.
because who wouldn't love you if you don't love yourself?
It's very true.
I expect them to do that.
Or you'll if you don't love yourself, and you feel like you do, because wait a minute, I've been there too. I felt like, oh, I love myself, I respect myself, and I truly did not. I didn't. I really didn't. I was able to get manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a lot of situations, and I mean, and it was my own doing, because like I wanted to look at potential, or I was like, oh, they could be this, oh, they could do this. I'm thinking all the wrong things, and
Right.
now that I'm sitting and going slow in life and taking my time, like now I can see things clearly. And that's another thing. Take your time, like really go slow and think about everything, every day, every second, and be thankful for every day and every second, because that's what I do. Also, I appreciate my moments.
And being present.
Yeah.
I think that's important, especially when we come up with our parents, kind of like pushing marriage and kids and the family, all that on us. Then, like, I think it's okay to normalize, like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that.
Right.
They don't know who I am.
I wish I was there. My mom didn't do that, because I think all of us were just too fast. We were
That's
too
all right.
fast for her to say that to us. I think my mom be like, man, I didn't get that chance.
Yeah, look, my family laughs at me. I've always told them, wait till I'm 50. Then you got 10 more years, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love my parents. I love everyone in my family. As I have learned to love them at who they are.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't change them.
No.
Sometimes I feel like I'll put an example personally with my father is after so many years, it comes to a point where I had to forgive him for myself and just like accept for who they are and love them for who they are. So some things I may not agree with, but it is what it is. I think in life now I go into things without expectation, so I don't like feel let down.
That is very true. Like I've learned that myself too, is that I don't go in with any expectations, because when you do, you are letting yourself down. That and
Mhm.
then I did go through that with like I said, my marriage, like I had expectations from him, and he fed me lies, and I still was having those expectations, and I was
Right.
getting myself let down every second, because I was thinking, no, he's gonna change. No, he's gonna do what I think he's gonna do. No, I had to realize, like, those were my expectations,
Yes.
and I needed to let them go, because that's not who he is, and to believe him, believe who somebody shows you to be. So
Exactly. And just for everybody, I want y'all to know, like, there's a difference between expectations and boundaries. So don't listen to.
yeah, I was like, man, I had so many. I needed to stop.
Phil,
I know you want to chime in.
yeah, I want Phil to explain that difference between expectations and boundaries, and then if y'all could talk about co-occurring diagnosis a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay. So expectations, like we just mentioned, explains more like I'm expecting this person to treat me this way or to be this way without, and I think what the important part is missing out on the communication. Like communicate that to the partner. What are your needs? What do you need, and what do they need? Boundaries, though, are, and I like to say healthy boundaries. More like, try to give you a good example for everybody. It'd be, I'm not going to allow anyone to disrespect me, verbally or something. So either let them know, or I can easily just walk away. Setting healthy, I think it's important setting healthy boundaries with individuals, even family, friends, loved ones, whatever you want to call them, because that way you don't stress yourself. You avoid from stressing out, being mistreated. I think that's the difference. My expectations for you is when we can you can let ourselves down, but setting boundaries is when you make sure people don't cross those.
Right.
You want to say anything about that, Mimi?
Oh yeah, I had none. I had no boundaries. When I tell you, I am now learning boundaries and learning how to them keep them, because that's the most important thing, is to keep your boundaries, because I could sometimes waver them, but if I waver them, then that means that anybody can keep on disrespecting me. So I am learning how to keep my boundaries and respect my boundaries and respect other people's boundaries, because that's important as well. Because I had to teach my kids that, and that is so important to teach your kids, like when they're younger, because like I didn't realize how important it was. But I do, respect my kids' boundaries now, and they respect mine when I tell them this is my boundary and I'm sticking to it, and that's it. So, yeah, having other people respect your boundaries, because I have seen a lot of that, like not being respected back, and it gets hard, because you have to either take yourself out of the situation or you take yourself away.
Definitely. And another example would be that just came to mind, like some people will not answer phone calls or text messages at a certain time a day or at night, So I think we have to learn, as those setting them, we also have to enforce them, because if we don't enforce those boundaries, then once we slip up in, I say, don't call me after 9 p.m. and I actually take a call for somebody just to lollygag, and it's like, okay, well, you just open the door wide open for me to and I would just keep doing that. And
they're going to keep calling you.
Right.
You already let it know once. They're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And I've learned, and like I said, like with me being 40 something years old, like I'm now learning this stuff, and it's so sad that I'm now learning this. I wish that, I was taught that before I got to dating, and because I wouldn't have allowed a lot of stuff pass through.
Okay.
I think that, and like I said, like I think I even talked to one of my ex-boyfriends, and I had to explain to him like the things that he did to me messed my mental up. And I mean, I wasn't blaming him. I just let him know, like, I learned that this caused me to do this, get crazier, because you were saying this, but again, that was his boundary, and I wasn't respecting his boundary.
Mhm.
But the way I was taking it, I was going bonkers in my head, you know?
Right.
So like he was telling me, I don't want to talk right now. I'll call you whenever. I'll call you later. Stop calling me so much. And I was like, no, you're my boyfriend. Why I can't call you? You know?
So you want to respect his boundary.
I was going bonkers, but he had his boundary.
But I think on top of that, it's important to be mindful of our delivery too.
That's very true. But we were young, so it was. I get it. But I mean, it's just like I just, like I said, I've been sitting in so much silence that I actually remember that particular thing that really messed me up. Like, and I still do that. Like, I still go crazy like that on all my relationships. So like, it was carrying over.
Right, and that's a trigger for you then.
Yes.
I understand.
So now I'm learning it's okay. You ain't got to call them. And if they don't call you, don't call them. And, you know, it may not be meant for you then. You know?
And you got to have those self-talks, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Before you go off the handle.
I've been there.
Yeah. That's that. Hold it in and then go off the handle.
Right.
So, yeah, I've learned a lot.
Yes. As Tawana said, let's speak on co-occurring or comorbidities, like conditions. I myself experiencing that as well. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience with your diagnoses.
Okay, so I got diagnosed with, well, it's ADD with my attention issues. And I've always had a comprehension issue when I was in school. But I really think that it's just, you know, the ADD, because like I would read something and it just wouldn't stick, you know, in my head. And like if somebody read it to me, it would stick. So it was like a whole different way of me learning.
Gotcha.
And then I have fibromyalgia, which is related to stress and anxiety. And that affects my whole nervous system. Wow. And so sometimes I literally could be bedridden where I can't walk. But thank God that I've been really healthy these last couple of years, because I did have an incident when I miscarried and went through the stress and the postpartum where I was bedridden. So, and I try to keep myself calm and not stressed.
So I don't want you to just go by there like it was nothing, because you mentioned being bedridden and still going through postpartum depression.
Yeah.
That's a lot in itself.
Yeah.
How did you get through that, I should ask?
Really a lot of prayer and talking to people, and I got a lot of therapy too. Like I had a lot of therapy, and I was doing physical therapy, trying to get myself back out of bed. I was taking a lot of pain medicine. I had a lot of medication as well. And I just really fought for myself. Like I fought really hard to get out of all of that, because like I could have just stayed in misery. I could have just gave up, but I didn't. I really wanted to live and not allow myself to hurt so bad to where I couldn't walk, because I had to learn how to walk all over again. It was really bad. And a lot of people didn't realize what I was going through, because I would still put a smile on my face every day and talk to people happy, and, you know, not letting them know what I was going through. But my life, I definitely just, sorry guys, I got a toddler. I'm still awake. So like, I just really was fighting for myself. And when I say like, I really didn't feel myself as well as being, in that postpartum, like I really thought it was like, I wasn't me. I wasn't the nice person. I wasn't the sweet, innocent person I am normally, that I don't hold stuff in and blow up. You know, I'm a Gemini, so you know, so like I really fought for myself. Like I really did a lot of work and physical therapy and a lot of counseling. My counselor, she's amazing. She would, you know, tell me, do you have to do the work when you're in counseling.
Yes.
You have to do the therapy. When they are asking you questions and they're asking you these hard things to do, like you have to put in the work. You have to think about what they're asking you and ask yourself, like, are you thinking logically? Are you, you know, are you thinking this clearly? And what do you want out of it and how to get it?
I love that you mentioned all of those things. Your faith again, positive talk, self-talk, and the big thing that I stress to a lot of people is in any type of therapy, like you said, you as the client, the patient, or what have you, you have to do the work. So as the providers, it may seem like we're supposed to be doing work. All we're doing is like the compass and kind of guiding based on what you tell us what to do. We follow and like just support.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's the individual who's doing the work within themselves. And I think I love how you were talking about wanting to change and talking to yourself like, I want to get out of here, out of this situation. And sometimes we're in that position. I know at one point I was down, I didn't want to do anything, but something hit me, you know, and again, faith for me as well. So having those conversations in prayer, it's eventually at some point you're going to want to be like, okay, I want to fight this and see myself get over it.
Yeah.
Overcome. Yeah.
Like he has brought me through a lot of stuff that I just didn't think I was going to ever make it through. And I did. I mean, there's times when I had 2 little kids with me, my kids, and I was like, I can't take it anymore. I can't live like this. I'm just overly stressed. I can't, you know, function. I don't know how to think straight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I was having a lot of depression and and that's another thing. Like a lot of people don't realize, like, I don't know if I've been learning a lot. So, just even that I'm in my 20s or something, you know, you could start premenopausal and still have kids.
Oh.
And premenopausal can affect your mental. It can affect your it can make you depressed. It can hurt your bones. It can do a lot of stuff that people don't even realize and doesn't realize that actually needs to be looked into a lot more in depth because it messes with your mental because your hormones are imbalanced.
You just made a perfect point in our community. I feel is coming from a holistic approach. I think it's important for all of us, like you said, to see our primary care doctors, get our checkups and so forth, and because not only various levels of stressors, whether it's bills, mental health, even our health conditions that we experience can impact our mental health, right? So I thank you for even explaining that from your personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of other I can go down a whole rabbit hole. But I mean, I think it's just that I'm been sitting and learning myself that, and researching myself, because like I said, with having fibromyalgia, it's an autoimmune disorder, and with inflammatory, everybody's inflamed in the country because of all of the food we're eating. So I mean, like I said, it's a lot that can go along down with it. And right now I'm learning how to fix my gut issue, and my gut issue is making my autoimmune disorder like go down, so I won't have that fibromyalgia where I won't be bedridden. I mean, literally, this is what I'm saying. When I say I'm fighting for my life,
Yes.
I literally am fighting for my life. Like I don't want my mental to go down anymore. I don't want to be in the depression state that I used to be in, because I was in a bad spot.
And you're overcoming it.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I even feel happier. Like I never felt. I can even tell you right now. Like this is the happiest I have ever been in my entire life.
Now that's a blessing. Explain how so.
And it's because I put God first, and I do the research, and I trust in Him to tell me this is what you need to eat, this is what you need to do, this is how it needs to be, and I trust in Him, and that's it. And I eat what I'm supposed to eat. I'm learning how to fight off sugar addiction. That's what I'm working on now. So.
You sound like me.
Yeah.
Because I understand I have an autoimmune disorder, as well as like I just get diagnosed with like IBS and SIBO and stuff. So I totally understand the whole nine. My weight going up and down, all the medication and stuff, and that in itself is depressing, because in college I was anorexic, so now I'm looking at myself like this is not me. Like I want to go back to what I used to be, and so you go through all these changes, and it could take a toll on you.
Exactly. Exactly. So like, yeah, I put my health first, and like I put God and I put my health first. Yes. And that's all that you can do at this point. But like I said, like I want to fight for myself. So I talk positive no matter what. And now like I even like and social media, like let me bring the social media, because that could be depressing.
Yes.
And that can hurt your mental really bad. So like now I push more out positivity stuff.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's the best thing that's going to help anybody that looks at my page or even sees what I'm posting or I'm posting. I can read it myself and know that today is the greatest day, and even now, like me and my little one here, we start our day off with, good morning. It's a good day for Forrest Frank. We start that off in the morning. Like whatever you put in the world, that's what you're gonna get. So like I make him think that this is the best day that we're gonna do, and that's how I live.
I love how you're teaching your kids that. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Share the gems with them. Like, put it into practice now, so they'll take it with them.
It'll help your mental. It helps your mental when you think positive all the time. It helps your mental. It's hard. I know there's so much negativity out in the world, but get on the positive train and become your happiest self. Like that's all I can really tell people.
Definitely. And if you need to fast from social media, by all means do so.
So on that note, I guess I better let y'all go. That's the best note I can tell y'all. Love yourself, be happy, and think positive.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I think that self-care is a good way to wrap up this conversation, because it's perfect with Mental Health Awareness Month. Make sure that as we are fluctuating with this weather, craziness, it's nice out, it's cold out, it's rainy, it's sunny. But remember, particularly my people of color, make sure you're going out and getting you some sunlight, get some vitamin D. Give you the vitamin D, and take care of yourself. Theo, do you have any mental health tips or anything that you would like to give to the people as we wrap up?
I think sometimes when we think about coping skills, we think too much or think it's something that's so difficult. But honestly, it's just things that we enjoy doing, whether it's taking time to watch TV, a movie, listen to music, go for a walk, exercise, cook, read or something. Like it's the simple things, the things that we can just do in our own space that we feel are comfortable and I say comfortable and safe, but yeah, and we can just be ourselves, and just relax. If you need to scream and yell, by all means do it. I do it sometimes. If you need to cry. It's okay to cry, even if it's an ugly cry, because you're gonna feel better. Like you just have to relieve yourself and relieve that stress.
Yep.
He agrees.
I agree.
He agrees. So Phil, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on, I'll say IG. Everything is Phillip with one L, Sain, SAIN, or philipsain.com.
Yeah, so appreciate it. Y'all were so blessed. Welcome to the RealRam fam. Y'all were so blessed today to have two social workers on the screen today. But yeah, so thank you, Mimi, so much for sharing your story with us. And y'all know what it is. Next time we're gonna have another story. We're gonna have more tips coming, and y'all know if y'all got people whose story y'all would like to share, send them my way. So y'all know what it is. Y'all take care.
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out.